And I have a stack here. I represent many, many people in the film industry. And these are just people here. These are just people in your district that say, we know it's a hard job balancing the budget, and we know that there are seniors, the whole senior thing, that's so hard. The education, I have kids in the education system too. I certainly don't want them to go without maybe a musical here or there. We know that we all have to take some part and try to be fair. I voted for you, based, frankly, on your right to life stance. So, I'm with you. I would just, I mean, people have told me, oh, McMillan's inflexible, and if you say anything about the film incentive, it'll just rail all of you. I don't believe that, because, frankly, if you were voting right, to life, then I know you got a heart. And so I just want to say, please consider those of us that really, there are 4,000 to 5,000 of us in Michigan that if the proposal, as is right now, is capped at 25, that's not even enough for one film. Detroit 187 won't come back. We won't have even one film to work on. And that's a lot of people to suddenly lose our jobs. So we're willing to work with you. One of the pages I gave you there is a whole page of ideas of how we can cut, we can compromise. We're willing to go down. Take some percentages off. Work over here. Here's what we can do. But compromise with us. Don't be, maybe as we say, an ideologue and just say, cut and dry, no, because really, it's gonna put me back to where I was. Please don't do that to me. Please don't do that to so many people. Work with us, please. Thank you.
Yes.
We're here at the Michigan Production Studios with Tiren Jhames.
Hello.
And just tell our readers a little bit about what you do and what you've been doing in the film industry, first of all.
I'm a Screen Actors Guild and an AFTRA actor. So I do film and TV, voiceovers, radio and TV voiceovers, and keep myself busy. At least now, with the film incentive.
Right.
Keep myself busy.
So you and I were both at a town hall meeting with, well, first of all, there was an event here about a week ago, the pen to paper event.
Pen to paper, right.
And we had several hundred people come here. We had entertainment, there was entertainment here, and people were writing letters to their representatives, their state senators, the governor. So just tell our readers how that went, how many letters you collected.
Ann Keeble owns the Michigan Production Complex here. She's a co-owner. I called her one day and said, hey, I want to do what they said to do at our Livonia rally, which is let's get together, let's write our legislators and make a difference. So what do you say? We have like a party, because if we leave it to each other, we might forget. So let's hold each other accountable and get together and do it all as a party. She said, great, let's have it here. All right. And it just kept building and building until it was a huge event. And we're pretty sure we had over 1,000 people come from that 3 o'clock to 9 o'clock slot. And most of them sat at tables, wrote their legislators, and we were there to help them. If they didn't know who their legislators were, per their district, we helped them find so they could put the exact name on those envelopes. And we also had information as to where they stand on the Michigan Film Incentive. Are they for it? Are they against it? Maybe they're freshmen and they don't know much about it and they're undecided. You can help them learn about it.
So you took those letters, and we talked before we went on the record. You sorted them and delivered them to Lansing. Tell us, how did that go?
Well, it went great. Going up and being a part of democracy is wonderful. Everybody should do it for some reason, multiple times. Going up to Lansing, we, based on their suggestion, sorted them into the House letters, letters to the senators, and then letters just for the governor. So I had 3 boxes, and we delivered each one of those to 3 different buildings in Lansing right there next to the Capitol. Everyone we met with were very helpful, glad to see us, thought that what we were doing mattered, and wished us the best.
Did you meet with any of the legislators personally, or just their staffs? Or?
What we're trying to do is meet with them face-to-face, one-on-one, as Bruce, you and I did last night with Representative Tom McMillan, who was here in Rochester Hills. So So we met with him face-to-face last night. This past Friday, I met with Senator Jim Marlowe and had a one-on-one with him at Caribou Coffee. It's very nice. They have good coffee. And so we spoke with him. He actually is on board with us, believes he can find a way to make the film incentive stay, and sees the worth of it. So that's good. Representative McMillan tends to be across the board against incentives, but was very receptive for the story that I gave, which is just my own experience with the film incentive and what it's done for me, which is great things. So we share what we can to make a difference, but we definitely have to be vocal. We have to get out there. We have to be a part of this process. If we just sit back and whine, nothing's going to happen. But we can be proactive. We can be constructive. Contact your legislators. Write letters to the governor. Email. Call them. Leave a polite, respectful message about why this is important, why it works, and the hope for the future of the film incentive.
Because Representative McMillan last night, I mean, you told your story. I mean, you were very respectful. You were, you know, as you said when we were off the record, building bridges, so to speak.
Building bridges is important.
Do you feel like you have a chance of changing some, not just Tom McMillan's mind, but obviously it's going to take some changing some other minds in order to get this to be continued, you know, either the way it is, you know, at the 42% is the max, but either continue the incentives the way they are, or maybe come to some compromise that basically everyone can live with, and hopefully the film industry will continue to come to Michigan and build the business.
I think people will respect respectful people. And you know when someone is being respectful to you. You know when somebody truly appreciates you, or if they're just giving a mocking facade of appreciating you, but really they wish you would leave. Right? I think we can pretty much sense that most of the time. So if we're respectful and professional, if we give them every good reason to take us seriously, and we're serious about the fact that, hey, 4,000 to 5,000 of us, we don't want to lose our jobs. You'll be firing us if you do this. And right now in Michigan, we can't afford that. We're trying to build up this state, and to get this huge swath of workers suddenly unemployed, it means we're either going to have to leave Michigan, so you lose the tax revenue, property taxes, all that stuff, or they have to go on unemployment, and then they're taxing the state that way. Just let us work. We want to work.
Right. So you told your story last night, and one of the things I think our readers might like to know, you have a recurring role, you said, on Detroit 187.
Yeah, I did 4 episodes this past season, and here's hoping that Detroit 187 stays on.
So, but as I understand it, so the film incentives play a role in that too, whether Detroit 187 stays in Michigan, or whether they go to and call it New York 187,
Yeah.
or
They were using the incentive, so we know how producers are. Obviously, if you're going to spend hundreds of thousands, if not millions of dollars, and you see one place here that can do it, another place here, this one gives you nothing back, this one gives you something back, where are you going to go? All things being equal. So we have to give a little bit. We're willing to compromise, and we have pages and pages of things where we can compromise with our government to still try to make it work, so that we both win.
And we were talking with Juan Shannon a few minutes ago.
The Michigan Production Complex.
Yeah, and I mean he's got a lot of new things, and but I guess the interesting thing I think people don't realize is the incentives that are in place now they're going to, I mean, I think they have another few years to run, and then I would assume what's going to happen is that either they'll go away or maybe they'll just be ratcheted down slowly. But once, we don't have to give this incentive forever in order to keep the film industry here. We just have to get them here, recognize there's good talent here, there's good infrastructure here, which is what the incentives are, as I understand it, are really all about, building the incentive, building the homegrown talent so they don't have to fly, lighting people or sound people from, let's say, California. Once those things are in place in Michigan, even if the incentives eventually go away, they'll still stay here. At least that's the theory.
I would say there's 2 parts to that statement. The first part being, if we grow through the incentives a thriving industry, and then take away the incentives, would the industry still maintain itself? It's a hard question because I personally have researched and seen both cases. I've seen some cases where the industry is maintained, but then I've seen some other cases where, oh, you took away the incentive? Okay, bye. So it seems to me, I think the equitable answer would be get the incentive where it has been. It's been pretty high to get the initial draw, and it definitely had the initial draw. We had a lot of business that just suddenly sprang up. It was wonderful. And then as it continues, I think we can ratchet it down some, but there's some magical point in there where if you get below it, and it seems to be about perhaps 35%, if you get below that, even if you have some industry here, they're going to go elsewhere because the percentages are just that much higher. Now, as far as the other part of what you said, which is the crew base, the people here working, do we have enough? We started when the incentive hit, we had just barely 2 whole film crews at any time that you could call on, no more. Now we have at least 5 full film crews. So we have developed the core crew in Michigan, so where we could be doing 5 different movies at one time.
Across, they could be in different locations across the state.
Totally 5 different ones. So that's great. That shows that the incentive has created jobs. Now more people are in the industry, which is why when we had the rally in Livonia, over 4,000 people came on a Thursday night.
In winter.
In winter, yeah, and it was pretty icy, as I remember, on the roads that night, and the highway was backed up with cars. It just shows you how far we've come. There are a lot of people now in this industry, and they've said, they're all in. I'm in. This is my industry now, and I've been working it for a couple years. If you fire me, I'm going to be lost. It's going to have a devastating effect on not only their personal economy, but the economy of Michigan.
Well, Governor Snyder's proposal that he announced in his budget recently was to cap the incentives at $25 million, I guess. If you were talking to Governor Snyder instead of to me, what would you want to tell Governor Snyder about, what's your, maybe top 3 reasons why you think he should keep the incentives in place going forward?
Well, I would first say to Governor Snyder, thank you for trying to balance the Michigan budget, because it is a problem and it needs to be done. I believe in a political system that is responsible, and a political system that just spends without regard for how much in debt they're going. It's not responsible. It's not responsible for my household. If I did that for my wife and kids, right, I would be looked at as, wow, what a guy, how could you? Well, then why should our politicians be doing that? So what he's doing is great, and we want to help him balance the budget. We want to be a part of that. We, however, will lose our jobs if the film incentive gets capped at $25 million. The simple reason being, just go Google any film and find out how much it costs to do that film. It's going to be more than $25 million, almost across the board. So giving us that doesn't even allow us to do one film. They'll just disappear. So we need at least a workable figure. Mitch Albom this last week said somewhere around $300 million. If we can get maybe that as the cap, at least it would allow us to have an industry of a few movies that we could work at and keep us going. So we have to compromise at some reasonable levels. Why? Why is it worth it? Well, my goodness, there's so many reasons. Every film that is done in Michigan